Happy Tuesday. Can everybody hear me? All right. So we have, it looks like we have a very intimate crowd for the day. And so I'm going to go through the content today of knowing your numbers. And look, from the perspective of buyers, you got to remember some common misconceptions they have. And I call them misconceptions because what they think is everything is not everything, right? So can a buyer find properties online? Yes or no? Can buyers go see a home online if they choose to? Yes or no? Now, can buyers make an offer through a listing agent? Yes or no? So then my question is, in a buyer's mind, why do they need you? Anybody? I'll repeat the three questions. Can buyers find a property online on their own? Yes.
Yes.
Can buyers go to the listing agent to see the property on their own? Yes. Can they negotiate on their own behalf and contact the listing agent and do all those things? Yes. So why do they need you? And Cherish, you can't answer this question because you've been here a long time.
Professional guidance, representing their best interests.
Hold on. I don't know. Can anyone hear Javanka? All right, hold on.
Yes.
Then it's my sound. Oops. All right, go ahead again. Sorry.
Professional guidance, representing their best interests, uncovering, defects that they may not know about, especially if they're first-time buyers.
So
Things,
pause.
pitfalls
Ready?
to watch out for.
Professional guidance representing their best interest. I would never use those words to somebody, right? Because if I say, oh, I have your best interest at heart, so you're saying, wait, I don't have my best interest at heart? Well, I undercover defects and I tell you about it. Well, can I hire a home inspector to do that? Keep going.
I'm just telling you what clients have told me what they are looking for. Like when I ask them, what are you
Don't
looking
worry,
for?
I'm gonna put these into more more words that make sense, right? So when somebody said that you represented their best interest, right? The reason that's a feeling, that's not like a fact, right? So it was through your interactions and engagements, right? So when we talk about knowing your numbers, financial and lifestyle costs, when you go through that kind of detailed analysis with a buyer, the conclusion and the feeling that they come with is Javanka represents my best interest because she took the time to explain all this to me. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right. So when we look at the new paradigm of buyer's agency, representation, what people are hiring us for, we need to elevate our game. And a lot of these things you essentially are doing, right? So I want to give you an example. Has anyone ever seen an Instagram ad for a company called Hims and Hers?
Yes.
Anybody? So their main product that they sold was something that helped people regrow their hair. I don't know why my camera's blurred. Hold on a second. Okay, that's better. That really bothers me. So it's a company that sold hair regrowth treatment, right? Do you know what was in the thing that they sold? It's a thing called minoxidil. Do you know what else has minoxidil in it for 20 years before that? Rogaine. Same exact thing. But they packaged it, they positioned it, and they communicated and promoted it in a different way. Now it's $1 billion publicly traded company, and Rogaine is like dead, right? So essentially, you're looking at the same things you're doing and you're packaging, positioning, and in our sense, communicating it in a different way that makes sense to a client. And this is why we love Compass One, right? Because it actually quantifies an entire list of the things that you do. Make sense?
Yes.
But just while she said this, and I'm not picking on you, I appreciate your sharing this. Please don't go to clients and say things like, I have your best interest at heart, right? I will help. Stop. Don't say that, right? I'm your advocate. Children in court that can't speak for themselves have advocates, right? If you say you're somebody's advocate and they've had like past experiences where they felt that everyone made decisions for them, except them, you're going to trigger them and it's going to be a problem. Right? So when we get into, I would say, expert representation, you go through the entire, like, how would I say this? The entire picture, right? Like you can't see the picture when you're in the frame, as they say. So, you know, when they say, how do you support me in buying a house? Well, both before, during, and after are all unique stages of purchasing a home. And based on your goals, your expectations, and your unique situation, we create a strategy based on the fundamentals of buying a home, right? So let's get into this financial analysis. And for all of us here, we have a really amazing workbook that we've created that after, Leslie, people hire you, Wilfred, after. You do not do this in the buyer's consultation, right? So part of this is just reinforcing the idea of here's things that you get for free. Here's things, Liz, you get when you're my client. Does that make sense to everybody? That clear line? I would not be going into buyer consultations and building entire comprehensive collections and all this stuff. Here, I built you an entire search. Here are all the off-market properties. No, show them a past client, show them the context of how the comments and the ones that you took out save them time, personalize the experience, where they're going to want that for themselves. Make sense? All right, so let's go into knowing your numbers. I think this is one of the most underrated roles of an agent. And I find it's our responsibility to help guide people in this. So what's our role in finances? In purchase costs, mortgage payments, ongoing home ownership expenses, maintenance and repair, lifestyle and additional expenses, reserve and emergency funds, the summary and analysis, and applied learnings. So the cool part is all of these different things we built into a really cool worksheet for you that's in Sheets. So you can make a copy of it, you can send it to your client, and in the end, the sheet does all the analysis for you. Your role is to create awareness around the client's full financial picture. That's it. You're not financial planners and we're not accountants, right? What we are facilitators and guides. So if we can create awareness, we want to empower the client with the information to make the best decision for themselves and their family. So let's go to section 1, purchasing a home. So what are the things that people really have to have an idea? There could be down payments, there could be closing costs, prepaid items, taxes, insurance. Like if you're in like Westchester County or some of these suburbs in the country, title insurance is so expensive. In terms of escrow in New York and Westchester County, where I work, they would escrow 3 to 6 months of the taxes, which makes the closing costs insane for people. I thought I was going to sneeze. It's quite. So you could look in Westchester County, closing costs would be 3 to 5%, 5% depending on the escrows. Title insurance is an obscene amount of money. So people aren't always thinking about all of these numbers when they close. Then subsequently, they think they have all this money for repair. The closing disclosure, I believe it's the TRID disclosure, is not given to you till 48 hours in advance. This is a great opportunity to partner with lenders and understand all of the closing costs. How many people know their closing costs in their market inside out and backwards?
Working on it.
Working on it. Okay, so reach out to your origin point loan officer. It's like part of Compass and say, hey, I need to understand all of the closing costs and figure out what type of buyer most we have. 20% down, 10% down, 5% down, like whatever those areas are, and ask them in the areas you work in to like have some projected closing sheets. So you can talk about this more intelligently. I always found having great lender partners, they're my best friends. Because I want to partner with them in understanding numbers. So when I talk to my client, I look smart, intelligent, supportive. How many people do you think on a scale of 1 to 10, 8 being like most agents are doing this, 5, I think some agents are doing this, or 5 or under, meaning I don't think many agents are doing this. Where do you think people are in actually explaining these costs to people? Put it in the chat. I'm interested to see where your thoughts are. 0. Anybody else? Remember, these are feelings, so they're subjective. I do, Suzanne. All right, Suzanne, the question is how, like, overall in a marketplace, you think no one's really doing this, most people are doing this, or are all agents doing this? So as we can identify, think about this, 73% of people never even sold a home last year, right? Which leaves 27% that sold one home. Out of that 27%, I don't think a lot of agents do this, right? And look, a lot of people are afraid to do this because if the people really know their numbers to buy a house and the agent doesn't have a lot of money, it's called self-interest. I don't want to tell my clients all this because then they might not want to buy a home. That's good. You don't want to sell somebody a home that goes broke, right? Because they didn't think about any of this stuff. Mortgage payments. Principal, interest, property taxes, homeowners insurance, and if there's mortgage insurance, right? So you want to be able to explain to them the basis of how their payment works, right? Even when Suzanne's like, I send them to a capable lender. Before they go to a lender, I want to overview this stuff with them, right? It's important. Has anyone taken the time to walk you through a financial and lifestyle analysis and how it correlates to the purchase of your home? Every single person will say no to that question. Because what does an agent think when a client says, I want to buy a home? I could do this, I could do this, I could find you this, I have this off-market property. Those things are important, but this is important too. Ongoing home ownership. Do people really think about this? We want to find out. Electric, gas, oil, water, sewer, trash, recycling, internet, cable. These are fixed expenses that people have. You got to remember one thing. If you know about mortgages, how are loans and affordability calculated? You have a $10,000 income. Max front-end DTI is 33%. So they would say, Chirag, your housing allowance based on earning $10,000 a month can be $3,333 a month, which accounts for these numbers, right? Principal, interest, taxes, insurance. None of these numbers are included. Then you go to the back-end ratio, right? Which is the housing ratio plus all of your minimum monthly liabilities that show up on your credit report. And for that, there are banks that will go up to 45%, right? Now, here's the problem. Someone gets a loan, they think they could afford the house, right? Assuming you're not in a egregious tax state like California, you have 45% there. Assume you have 30% in taxes for the income that you earn. And in many places, it's higher than that, and some it's a little less. That's 75% of your total income gone. So you have 25% left for all of these expenses, any like kids' camps, vacations, food. Think about it. The way the loan is calculated doesn't always necessarily make sense, right? So look, home maintenance and repairs, routine maintenance, periodic updates, renovations and upgrades, security services, pest control. You don't factor in pest control. My daughter today, I got a call from school that she had a tick on her head, right? So we have a nice sized piece of land in our backyard. We love seeing all these deers that come by every day, but they bring ticks, right? So I had to call a pest control place. And for the next several months, I will be spending several hundred extra dollars a month just on those treatments. Did I factor those costs in when buying a home? No, I never thought about any of these things, right? And either do most buyers. Lifestyle, cell phone, childcare, after-school activities, car payments, car insurance doesn't come up on your credit report, vacation, home furnishings and decor, and other lifestyle expenses, gym memberships, subscriptions, dining, etc. This is something that they can use all the time, even outside of you, correct? Reserve and emergency funds, right? So these are just some base guidelines, but when you go through, this is connecting with the information to application, right? I would say, let's see, who's going to be my client here? Russell West, right? Russell West, when you buy a home, we're going to correlate the inspection report and things that might be at the end of their life with your reserve and pricing out how much those cost. So if you know something is going to go in the next 1 to 3 years that you can financially be prepared for. Are most agents going into that kind of detail with people? Yes or no? But that's why they're paying you your blank percent investment. And then, by the way, you can build these things into automations, into emails. It says, hey, Russell, remember your boiler only had a few years left on it. Here's just a reminder to make sure to get it serviced so you maximize life expectancy. Cherish. I can program that first email and then check in on Russell. Hey, just want to see how your boiler's going. Is it good? Is it not? Like, there's so many little things that you can build out of doing this in terms of just calendaring, automations, and things like that. But this is about connecting our business together in a more purposeful way. And then so our sheet gives you actually the summary, right? Mortgage payment, home ownership, lifestyle expenses, reserve contributions, monthly and annual total. So here's what we want you to do. Review the areas of the worksheet, complete the worksheet for yourself, and then role play with another agent and implement it with your clients. All right, now's the fun part. Questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, hallucinations, fears, doubts, worries. What do you guys all have today?
I have a question.
Sure.
Just to clarify, this is something that we give to the client to fill out, right? But we try to fill out some of the things that we know already as far as the mortgage and the information from Origin Point. Is that correct? Because
I wouldn't
obviously
do,
we wouldn't know
I
some
would
of
not
those
do a
things.
single thing in this sheet until the people hire you.
Right, but then once they hire you and you're working with them, it's not something that I fill out and say, "Oh, here, I've done all this research for you. Here it is."
No, it's
It's
a way to also add value to your lender, right? It's going to say, hey, based on your approximate price range, we've partnered with Chirag at Origin Point, who's going to just fill in some of these preliminary numbers and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
that this becomes a collaboration of people. It's so you're
Oh,
giving
okay.
your lender partner an opportunity to be of value, right? Some
Mhm.
people even have invited their lenders to their collections and had them put the estimated payments in the homes that they like, right? So it's about innovation and growth.
Oh, nice. Okay. I like that. Thank you. Invite lender to collection.
Who else has a question? Has anyone been using this from our past sessions?
Yeah, I just have a comment. This is kind of where I have this buyer. I have three buyers and this is where I'm kind of they're in LA, they're looking, 20 minutes over here and 20 minutes over there. So on the weekends, they're out on their own, you know, and it makes me nervous because I'm afraid I'm going to lose them, if I'm working over here on a listing and or with another buyer, I guess this is where I need to be roping, gathering them in and showing the value, right? Because
Look, everyone,
cancel
if
that
they have a signed
buyer
contract,
agreement anytime.
if they have an agreement with you and
They
they're going
do.
in different directions, you need to have a plan for how this is going to work. Like, all right,
Mhm.
guys, look, like go look at places. When you find a place, this is what you do. Let me know. I can set up a showing. I can do this. I can do that. Like have the next steps planned out so everyone is alignment and paying off the same set of rules.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm changing my response from earlier. One of the most important things that a recent buyer consult asked me was access to off-market properties because inventory is so low in Chicago. So forget what I said before. It's access to off-market properties.
Perfect. No one is judging you here. Safe space always. But look, what we know is that people have the courage to share in front of the group. What her question or thought is the same thing that everyone else is thinking, just no one says it. So here's what this actually looks like, and this is what will be attached to our session here today. Right, so you'll get, this will be a copy doc. You see, it's a copy. So every time you go to this document, you're going to want to make a copy for your client and make it specific for them. Purchase, mortgage payment breakdown, ongoing expenses, lifestyle and additional costs, reserve funds, and a summary and analysis. Shout out to Laura, who actually put this spreadsheet together on all of my ideas and stuff. So it's not easy to do this. I couldn't do this if you gave me a week, but she's a ninja and always wants to make sure that everyone has what they need. So just get comfortable using this. So in our updated buyer consultations, there'll be a page that says like, knowing your numbers, here are all the different things. And these things just open up different conversations for you.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chirag, just to make sure I'm clear, on Stacy's comment and question about how to use the spreadsheet. So it's a collaboration. I understand that. Are you just sending the spreadsheet to the client? Are you, or like filling it out
No,
first? Or filling it out together?
In my buyer consultation, I'm talking about, I would say it like this. One of the things our clients enjoy or benefit one of the things our clients say they benefit the most in partnering with us is our holistic approach to financing and finances when it comes to your home. We believe there are this different factors. Has anyone taken the time to share with you how this impacts purchasing a home and protecting yourself in the future? No one's ever done that. Great. So when we work together, right, implied, assume the sale, when we work together, one of the things that we do when we get started is we go through this detailed analysis together to make sure that when you do find the home you want, you're comfortable and confident, not only with the down payment, the closing costs, with the ongoing costs of the home and factoring things in the future that most buyers don't think about.
So you would
Okay.
then fill out the spreadsheet based on the home that they like when they
I'm
find
not
something?
filling anything out. I'm giving them, the lender can fill out the lender part. They can fill out their own expenses.
Okay.
Yeah, you created it. In your mind, you made this whole spreadsheet for them, right? So
Yeah.
if I said home and lifestyle planning worksheet and I had your name on it, you'd be like, wow, Chirag, thanks for making this for me. This is great.
Yeah.
So
Can we
Chirag,
invite any lender outside of Origin Point?
Invite anyone you want. It's your spreadsheet.
No, like to the dashboard. I think we can.
You can. It's just an email address.
Oh, okay, great.
But if you guys don't know about the Origin Point buy before you sell program, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Daniel Millstone, I actually work and I coach one Origin Point lender. And so I've made all of his like marketing, and he actually just made amazing assets that are going to be published to your marketing center account that you can actually give your clients. But that buy before you sell program is arguably the coolest program I've ever seen in real estate.
Okay.
Chirag,
Yep. Russell.
can you hear me? Sorry, can you go back and hit me one more time with your, if I'm a buyer, why am I using a buyer agent? And then can you expand a little bit on the objection of, well, if I go through the listing agent, I can get a better deal on the house?
Well, that goes to be like, great. So, if you feel that you can go to a listing agent, Russell, I know your time is very valuable. So what specifically had you speak with me this morning, this afternoon, this evening? Right. And then the $1 million question is the magic questions we call it. What do you envision an agent doing for you that you feel you can't do yourself? Right. So if someone's like, I could find the properties, I'm like, you know what? There are 3 things I can tell you that you're 100% right on. You can find the properties, you could contact the listing agent, see the properties, and you could represent yourself and purchase a property. So in that case, Russell, what do you envision an agent doing that you feel that you can't do on your own? And see what they say. If they say nothing, say, great, I wish you the best of luck. Not like, well, I do all these things. No, walk away. The most powerful person in negotiation is the person willing to walk away.
Thank you.
Great.
Liz, I'm not adding any of this stuff to Marketing Center. This is an actual lender that works independently at Origin Point, and he's in like Los Angeles, Beverly Hills area. We're adding it to their marketing center on his behalf. But he's only in California. To anyone in California, I highly suggest you get to know Dan Millstone. He's a great lender and loan officer and has some really innovative solutions for both buying before you sell, self-employed borrowers, right? So there's all kinds of different programs that people don't know about.
Yeah.
I always find if you want a jumbo loan, go to a big box bank, right? That's where you're going to get your best rate. There are also a lot of portfolio lenders. If you transfer money there because of that relationship banking, they'll give you a really good rate too.
Like Merrill Lynch.
Yeah, Merrill Lynch is one of them, but there's a lot of also smaller banks that want to compete on jumbo loans, right? Like HSBC Bank has an amazing portfolio program depending on, how much money you invest, right? And Origin Point lenders, those banks they'll beat you on service, maybe even time, right? But competing with big box banks on just rate is hard, right? So as an agent, you want to be mindful of what somebody's buying, what they need, right? So if you meet a buyer that's like, yeah, I want to find the right home, but I need the equity out of my existing home, but I don't want to sell it till I find the right home. People in that situation are, I really want to move, but I have such a cheap rate and I want to make my place an investment property, but I can't buy another home without having the equity out of that one. Those are all great buy before you sell opportunities.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right. Anyone else have questions, comments, concerns? Well, we're all going to share. So we're going to start just staying on the link for now. Yeah. We're going to save everyone the extra click. So love in my heart. I love you all. Cherish. I will leave it to you to lead your role play. And Laura, can you please just make her the co-host?
Thank you, Chirag. That's a great day.
No. So for the accountability session role play, please just stay on.
Right on. This makes it way easier.
Yes. And
Thank
for
you.
my context, everyone should be staying on here because there's no one that's omitted from getting better by practicing. All right.
Amazing.
Did you get co-host?
I have host